Hello. Hi. I'm just gonna get straight to the point. First of all, apologies for my hair, the way my hair looks. I'm in the middle of taking my braids out, these braids. So that's why I've got this bit and that bit that don't match. But anyway, apologies for that. So I'm gonna get straight to the point. In this video, I'm going to share with you my journey. So I have resigned from my job. I handed in my notice end of March 2026, and so I had to keep going to work for at least 1 month, so up until April. And obviously I used some annual leave I had in order to finish earlier, in order to stop working earlier, because I had to use my annual leave. I couldn't, you have to use your annual leave, you know what I mean? Especially if you're resigning, if you're leaving a job. But anyway, so I did resign from my job. And I'm making this video in 2026. We're April 2026. So reasons why I decided to resign from my job. The reasons are nothing to do with the job itself or anything like that. The reason is to do with my own personal life. So I have been a working mom for a long time. I'm talking many years now. Ever since I had my first child, I've been able to take maternity leave. I took 1 year off as maternity leave. Obviously, not all of it was paid for, but I'm grateful. I mean, very grateful that I was able to take 1 year off as maternity leave. Obviously, the last 3 months of my 1 year maternity leave were not paid for, but they were granted. I had permission to take 12 months off. So, which was great. I'm really, really grateful. So after that, obviously, I went back to work when my first was 1 year old. And then I remember it was very hard going back to work, leaving my 1 year old at home. We couldn't afford to pay childcare, both me and my husband, because childcare is very expensive and we're not earning a lot, because we worked it out. If we paid childcare, so we can put a child into childcare and then a 1 year old into childcare, and then both me and my husband go to work, we just couldn't afford it. It would be too expensive and would not be able to afford anything else after paying for childcare. So because of that, we decided there's no point putting our baby into childcare, because we obviously we can't afford it. So we had to find ways to for me and my husband to work, both of us, and provide childcare ourselves for our 1 year old. And that was very challenging. So I remember when I was 7 months pregnant, and I had only few weeks left of work. No, I had 1 month, because obviously, yeah, I had, I think, 1 or 2 months left. I was 7 months pregnant. So I had 2 months left of work. And I remember during that time, I was thinking to myself, that was the first time it really sank in. So this is my first baby I'm carrying. I'm pregnant back then. And I hadn't really thought of how I would go back to work after I've had the baby. Because obviously before I had any child, before ever became a mom, both me and my husband were working full time, and we're both working different shifts. So I was working a 24-hour shift. So I was working different shifts, meaning, so I would work night shifts, day shifts, weekends, long hour shifts, short hour shifts, and so on. So I did all that. But then once I became pregnant with my first child, I didn't really sit down and think, how am I going back to work? Because there's no way I could have gone back to work with a baby and do all those shifts I used to do. It just wouldn't work. And so I had to think of childcare, and I didn't start thinking about these things until I was 7 months pregnant. That's when I sat down, and it was this lady from work who asked me this question. So how are you going? Are you thinking about how you're gonna come back to work after you've had your baby? And remember, my reply was, actually no, I've not thought about it. And she just mentioned, you're gonna have to think about it because it's different. When you have a baby, things change. Just go and have a think about it with your husband. And I went home that day, and I was thinking to myself, yeah, that makes sense because I've not actually thought about it. I need to start making plans and have a clear plan of how we're going to do things now that we have a baby. So, and I remember that evening I went home and I sat down on the couch, and I was thinking. I remember I took my notepad out, and I was thinking, how am I going to go back to work after I've had the baby? Like, I can't do those shifts I was doing before because because now we have to think about childcare. So we thought about putting our child into childcare, paying for childcare, and we looked at our finances and we thought, no way, it's not going to work because we obviously can't afford to pay childcare and pay rent and pay food and pay transport, the usual. It just wasn't going to work. So that was out of the window, the childcare business. And then so we thought, so how are we going to do childcare ourselves and then work and everything? And I remember writing down different shifts that I could work, and the different shifts that my husband could work, so that we can provide childcare ourselves. And I spent so many hours on that piece of paper. I had a pen and a paper, and I spent so many hours trying to figure out how it's gonna work, and I couldn't find a way out. And I asked my husband, I explained to him, I showed him everything, and we both tried and think of different ways, and none of them were making sense. So it all came down to, then I was thinking, I'm gonna have to ask work, and my husband will have to ask work to see if they can give us flexible hours. Then I was thinking, what flexible hours? So which shift? Because if we're gonna ask our employers to give us flexible hours, we need to tell them what shift we're looking at and see if they can accommodate that. So then I was thinking of what shift can we do. Anyway, after a long, session of thinking, we ended up realizing, this is back in 2020. No, back in 2018. No, 2017. Yeah, this is what we're doing, 2017. It came down to, so I remember we were both working day shift when I went back. I reduced my hours, so I was still working full time, but I was not working weekends. I was not working nights anymore. And then I remember I was using my annual leave so instead of working 5 days a week, so I would use my annual leave to work only 4 days a week. So although it looks like I'm only working 4 days a week, so it looks like it's part-time, but it was compressed hours. So I would do compressed hours, so I'll do long days for 4 days, and then any remaining hours I would cover that with my annual leave. So then I can only work 4 days a week instead of 5 days a week. I did that for 1 year after I came back from maternity leave, and it was really hard. It was so hard. Those long days for 4 days straight were very hard. I was always tired. I would come home and I'm just so tired. My batteries have drained to literally 1%, and I have nothing left to give. And my husband has been working as well, long days himself. So we're both doing compressed hours, so we can work less days in a week instead of 5 days. He was doing 12-hour shift during the day, so he can only work 3 days a week. 12-day shift, 12-hour day shift, so you can work only 3 days. And I was only working 10-hour shift during the day, so I can only work 4 days a week. And but the way we did this was he would work weekends and I would work weekdays. So when I'm working on the weekdays, he's home with the baby, looking after him. And when I'm off for the weekends, he's gonna be working during that weekend, so I can be home with the baby and look after the baby. So that's how we did it. But that seemed to work a little bit. But the only problem with that was when I'm working weekdays, when I come home after work, I've been working longer hours. So 10 hours for me will be very long for 4 days straight, because I'm used to only working the normal hours that you would work will be 7.5 hours. Total will be like 8 hours. I'm only saying 7.5 hours paid, but 8 hours in total. And that will be a normal, regular, standard shift. Number of hours you work in a day. So for me to work 10 hours each day for 4 days straight, that I'm not used to that. My body's not used to that. So for me, that was very long. So when I get home at the end of the day, I'm really tired. And I hate that I'm that tired because I still have a baby to look after and I don't have the energy. So I'm still needing my husband to still help me look after the baby, when I'm home. Of course, I would look after my baby because I missed him all day. And I'll do it. I'll be in the mom 100%. I'll play with my baby. I'll change my baby. I'll feed my baby. Everything. Will do bedtime and everything. But even when I'm doing that, I know deep inside I'm really tired, like beyond tired. You know what I mean? I'm mashed. And he used to, so I wouldn't be able to play with my baby with that much energy and enthusiastic that I would have normally when I'm not that tired. So that used to break my heart a lot. And I know a lot of working moms do go through this, and working dads as well. They go through this on daily basis. It's just how things are. I'm just explaining my own story, my own side of things. So that used to break my heart. And we did that for 1 year, and I couldn't do it anymore. I got to a point where I couldn't do it. So I had to ask for my shift to be changed again. So I did change quite a lot, the shift patterns. I asked for a lot of flexibility, and my work has been wonderful to accommodate me with flexibility. Honestly, they've been the best. So, and then we had another child, but that was during the COVID time. So I was able to have time off during pregnancy. And again, me and pregnancy and work, we don't go together. It's really hard because pregnancy knocks me down a lot. So most of the times I just don't have the energy. I'm always throwing up, and yes, so I don't do well when I'm pregnant. But anyway, that's a story for a different time, for different video. How I coped with being pregnant and working and all that. But anyway, let's stick to the reason why I'm making this video today, which is I resigned from my job. And I resigned from my job to be a stay-at-home mom. So like I said, we had the second baby, then we had a third baby. So obviously we've got three babies now, three children now. They're still little, and we've been working like that, you know what I mean? I've been a working mom since day one, and since my first child. We have three now, and so we've been both working like that. And if I was that tired coming home after a long day of work with just one child, imagine now that I have imagine now that I have three children, how tired, how much more tired I am. So obviously it's been harder. It just got harder from there. And it wasn't just recently, like I said, I decided to resign from me and my husband. One day we sat down and we talked about it, and I said, because it wasn't just me who was tired after work, it was also my husband. It was very tired as well. Because to be honest, he'll be at home all day looking after the kids while I'm in work. And it's not easy to look after three little children all day long, because I would be in work working and for long hours as well. So the whole day, to be honest, he'll be looking after them, three little kids running around, driving him insane. And when I come home, for him, it's like a relief. Like, yes, your mom is home. He can then hand them over to me because they've missed me all day. I've missed them. And at least I can help him for those last few hours before bedtime. To look after them, to play with them, to do the bedtime, to whatever that needs doing. So you can take a little bit of break, a little break, because since morning he's been looking after them, 24 hours. And it's not that he's complaining or I'm complaining. We're just saying that it's just the reality of things. And a lot of families go through this, parents and their children, right? So like I said, again, we can't afford childcare because we're not earning that much. And especially paying childcare for three children, no way. So again, we just continued doing childcare ourselves while both me and my husband are working. He's working full time. I just recently, I think 1 year ago, just over 1 year ago, I asked to work part time and they gave it to me. But that was only reduced my hours by only few hours, not a lot. So it is part time. It was part time because I've resigned now. I was working part time for 1 year, but that was only like few hours away from full time. So it didn't feel like part time. And the reason why I only did a few hours is because we need the money, don't we? So if I reduce my hours too much, then we need the money. You know what I mean? But again, I also, okay, anyway, I'm not gonna go into too much detail with that. But anyway, I was given the part time. I'm so grateful for that, and I was working that. But still, even though it's part time, and when you're working mom and you're looking after the kids at the same time, or when you're working dad and you're looking after the kids at the same time, it's always gonna be hard, So we were tired, like, because we're doing childcare ourselves, right? We still have a little one at home who's not in school yet. The other two are in school, and so at least they're in school and there's only one to look after. And after these years of doing these things ourselves, we're getting older ourselves, right? We're not getting any younger, and we're getting more tired. But that's not the point. The whole point is the fact that the whole system was not working. Now with three children and both of us working, almost full time, him full time, definitely. He's always worked full time, and sometimes it takes more. If you can get extra shift, it will take them. Because we always need extra money. Come on. So it got to a point where it was just too hard on us, too hard on the kids. It's just not fair on them because we're coming home. I'll finish work, come home to look after my three children who have not seen me because all day, You know, they saw me in the morning when I was getting them ready to go to school. So I wake up in the morning, I'll get them ready for school, and then I'll go to work. And then after that, I'll spend the whole day in work. I won't be able to pick them up from school because I'll still be in work because I'm working, I'll still be in work by the time they finish school. So my husband will go pick them up from school. Um, and then that's it. So they won't see me after work. Sorry, they won't see me after they finish school. They won't see me, and then there's a little one who's still at home who won't see me at all because in the morning school run, she's still sleeping. She's still sleeping. So because she's still sleeping, and then I end up going to work, she's still sleeping. She hasn't seen me since the night before. And then I won't get home until bedtime when it's her bedtime. So when I get home, she's sleeping because it's her bedtime. So, and that goes on for 4 days a week. She hasn't seen her mom for 4 days a week, 4 days, 4 straight days, every single week. She's not seen me in the morning. She's not seen me during the day. She's not seen me at night at all. Now that's not fair, is it? Because I've been working. That's why she's not seen me. And I haven't even seen her. Because I've been working. Now, me, I'm a very maternal mother. I'm a mother who likes being around the kids, playing with the kids, looking after the kids, doing this, doing that, taking them here, taking them there. That's just my happy place. That's what I love doing. And my kids love that as well, a lot. So personally, I felt like, no, this is not working out. Like, kids only get to be kids once, and then after that they're older. So if I feel like if I don't spend enough time with our kids once they are young, to be in their childhood, to have that time with them when they're still young, when they're older, you miss it. You just miss it, and that time you can't get it back. Money can't buy back, but that time back. And then they're older, and that's it, it's gone. They'll grow up thinking you were never around, even though you lived in the same house. They'll grow up and their only memory, you're thinking, because you go to work and you come home, so maybe they see you those, like maybe 1 hour, and that's it, a day. You're thinking, yeah, they see me, I'm home, it's not like whatever. But what you'll be surprised when they're older and they tell you, you were never home. Or not even when they're older. Mine tell me now, and they're still little. They tell me, well, you're never home, Mom. We barely see you. And I'm like, what? I'm working. When you don't see me, it's because I'm at work. I'm working. And she said, but you work a lot. We don't see you at all. And I'm like, what do I say to that? I don't know how to answer that question. And me being me, like I said, I'm a very maternal mother, and it just breaks my heart. It seriously breaks my heart. And it's not the emotional side of it. It's the fact that we thought if we don't spend that time with them now that they're little, and time is flying, they grow fast. We're missing. And knowing myself, I'll regret it. When I'm old, when I'm a very old woman, I know my kids are older, they are men and women, and they have their own families. I'm sure one day I'll sit down and I'll think to myself, I'll think back to this time now when I was raising them when they were little, and I'll regret being so absent in their lives because I'm working a lot. And I'm sure I'll regret that because that's the kind of person I am. And knowing that they've been begging me, Mom, you're not home a lot enough. We don't really get to see you. And then when we because you're working, and when we finally see you, you're too tired. We want to play with you, want to jump, want to do this. You do it, but you're just not doing it properly because you're tired. And you can just see that they're not really enjoying spending time with me because I'm not that energetic when I get home. And it's not their fault. It's it's not my fault either because I need to provide, right? And yeah, so it's just hard all together, and it's just no, it got to a point where it didn't make sense. So we thought the best thing for our family right now, for the time being, is for one of us to just be home more. So that's how we ended up deciding I'm gonna be home. I'm gonna be home, raise my kids. My husband can go and work. We'll find ways for me to work. Maybe I can find a part-time job somewhere that works better for me to, I can work while my kids are in school. So I can get to have enough time to obviously get them up in the morning, get them ready, take them to school, then have time to make it to work and finish work early enough before school finishes, then go pick them up and be home with them, because I would have worked less hours, much less hours, so I wouldn't be too tired, pick them up, and I would have had time to also like get home, make a home hot meal for them, ready for them when they finish school, hot, a healthy meal ready for them for when they finish school. And then I'll go pick them up, we'll come home, the house is clean, the meals, fresh meal, hot meal is done and it's healthy. I'll go pick them up, we come home, I'll change get them to change the uniform, everything will be in order, and then we eat, around the table as a family. We'll play, we'll do homework, we'll relax, then we'll go to activities, after school activities and stuff like that. I will have enough energy to do all those things with them if I'm not working that many hours. But for now, I'm just gonna be home with them and to just bridge that build that bridge again, that connection, that bond, that mother children bond again, get back in structure. And when at least maybe when my last one is in school, because the last one is in school yet, when my last one is in school, maybe and then that's when I'll find like a part-time job. But until then, I'm just gonna be home, because to be honest, and even we've found it very difficult to potty train our last one, because I don't have maternity leave again, because I don't think I'll be pregnant again. But anyway, I've shared that news. So it's hard, it's hard to potty train her, because it'd be like after work, that's when I come potty training. I can't, because she'll be sleeping. Then it'll be the case of potty training her on the weekends, and that's just like part-time potty training a child. You can't part-time potty train a child, because they get they get used to being potty trained during that weekend, and then when the weekdays start and I'm going back to work, that potty training stops, the routine stops, and that's just confusing. That's confusing a child, and then she's not progressing, she's regressing. You know what I mean? With a potty training routine, and then you have to wait until the next weekend to potty train her again. Now she's confused, like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? It's not working. So now that I'm off work, I've resigned. I have the time now to potty train her 100% from the morning all day long, and then next day, and it continues like that. So these few months I have until she starts school, that's what I'm doing. That's my main one of my main priorities, is to make sure she's out of nappies or diapers before she starts school, and obviously bond more and spend more time with all my children. So yeah, I'm a stay-at-home mom now. There's more, so I'll be sharing my journey, my jobless journey, because I'm jobless right now, to be honest. Very broke, but very grateful for the time I have with my kids. And I'm looking forward to that. So I'll be sharing more. I'll be updating you guys more on this journey of being a stay-at-home mom. I've never done it before, so this is the first time for me. And yes, I've joined the club of anyone else out there who is a stay-at-home parent and I'll share the journey. I've only been off work for a few days. Like today's mine. I've only done it for 2 days. I've been a stay-at-home mom for 2 days so far, so it's not been that long. But I'll definitely share the journey, the rest of it, you know, how I'm finding it, things that I've been doing now that I couldn't do before, and all sort of things. So yeah, I'll be updating you. So thank you so much for listening. I hope I inspired someone, and yeah. Well, anyway, I will let you know. See you next time in the next video. Bye.